We really need to understand that people have a right to a place in the labour market. Doing whatever it takes to either teach or support that person in the role. We don't invest enough money in it. Doing whatever it takes to either teach or support that person. Doing whatever it takes to either teach or support that person in the role. We don't invest enough money in it.
There are many benefits with supported employment. What is stopping us from using it?
Yes, I think it's the lack of the proper sort of support for people, particularly those with complex needs. It could be summarised as the lack of good quality job coaching, to be able to provide an individual model, finding out what people need, getting a match between an employer and that person, and then doing whatever it takes to either teach or support that person in the role. We don't invest enough money in it.
There's also a lack of government policies in this area, do you believe?
I think so. I think governments are not clear on what works. Certainly they invest money, but sometimes the money is spent for people in the mainstream, not people who are at the margins, people who need higher levels of support. It's clear though that people, when they do invest, the money invested only needs to be invested for a limited time at high level, and then it reduces. So there are benefits both to taxpayers and also the people themselves if we get it right.
How can we make the top politicians understand these?
It's $1 million question. How do you get people to understand what works? I mean, certainly you have to inform, but you have to understand the political and the policy-making process. What information do people need? What win-wins do they need from a new policy? When in the policy-making cycle do we need to give that information to people? What support do we need to garner together to make sure that politicians see the benefit of it? So it's as much a complicated issue of presenting information at the right time in the right way, as well as a slightly complicated process of delivering the support itself. We need to get more clever, I think, at how we influence policymakers.
And how would you present the benefits of supported employment?
I think the benefits are to many different sorts of people, and I think that's one of its great strengths. Obviously, it benefits the person with a disability who gets paid work and a more inclusive place in society. It benefits their families, either directly if they're married or their parents or wider families, that a person has an independent life, and there are many feedbacks into the family situation for that. Employers make our information, our research suggests employers gain significant benefits of having good workers, and it doesn't cost them money. It can, in some cases, actually save them money to be involved. And over all of that, it helps the taxpayer, because people who work and pay taxes and receive fewer welfare benefits are clearly helping the economy become more sustainable.
What would you say are the most important factors to make supported employment really work?
I think if I go back to values, we really need to understand that people have a right to a place in the labour market as a key part of our society, and that many, many benefits come to society of giving them that opportunity. So I think we need to really understand the rights framework for it and be very aggressive about helping people achieve their rights, but we also need to know what works and invest in that, and not invest in things that do not get people into inclusive paid employment.
Can you give any examples of what works?
Can I give examples of what works? Yes, I think a process of finding a job that matches a person rather than finding generic jobs that you then try to squash people into. That's one key strategy. The second one is having a job coach who can help you to navigate all the very difficult areas of getting a job, applying for it, getting that job, learning it, staying in that job, integrating socially. And these things are more or less difficult depending on what the nature of your disability are. So I think that's fine. And one of the absolute key things is what we do in education and what our aspirations for people are. Our aspirations should of course be that everyone works, and we should do much more at that level.
Yes, should schools do different than they do today?
Yeah. Schools are very good generally. They have high aspirations for people. But for many people, we need to do more practically about introducing people to the workplace while they're at school. And that shouldn't be just any old job. It should be a job that's chosen for them, that matches their needs and talents. It should also be with the kind of support you would want in a job anyway, so they can learn that job and have the very best opportunity to demonstrate their competency. It's difficult for schools to do that. Like everybody else, they're struggling for resources. But together, in partnership with government and other departments, we should put far more investment into schools so that people can know what jobs they want, know how to learn, have something on their curriculum vitae at that stage, and a proper transition into paid employment from school, rather than years in the wilderness trying to find a good service to get them a job as an adult.
Have you had any impressions of how this works in Sweden?
I've had, I think, good information and good experiences with Misa and other organisations like that who follow an individual placement model, whether it's through individual placement with support for people with mental health issues, or supported employment for people with intellectual or other disabilities. I think there are some good examples. But Sweden's the same as many other Northern European countries. We struggle for resources. We struggle to get the message across about the benefits of working for all. I think it's all to play for. The experience is here. The lessons are here. We just need, I think, a greater and wider understanding in society and government that this can be a great opportunity if we invest in it. We don't invest enough.
Thank you.